At precisely 5:12 a.m. on the morning of April the 18th, 1906, the first tremors were felt on the Californian coastline. Later that day, what we know as the worst and most destructive earthquake one of the worst destructive earthquakes in the history of America, unfolded in San Francisco. We know it today as the Great Earthquake and Fire of San Francisco. By the time that earthquake had finished, 3,000 people were dead and 28,000 buildings were destroyed. Out of the tragedy of that event, they remodeled the city. It had grown up as part of the gold rush and had evolved in a rather haphazard way, but it was remodeled and rebuilt out of the ashes of that earthquake and fire and became the model for American cities in the future. Because of that earthquake, things were never the same again. In the Bible, on that first Easter Sunday, we are told in Matthew's Gospel, there was a great earthquake. An angel of the Lord, it says, descended from heaven and rolled back the stone. And amazingly, there was an empty tomb and a risen Jesus. Because of that earthquake, things were never the same again. The disciples discovered the risen Jesus and discovered that death was not the enemy anymore. Things were never the same again. In our world, we're having seismic shifts, almost like earthquakes in our society. Things are not the same. Things we have taken for granted all our lives, we can't do anymore. You can't go for a coffee. You can't go shopping if you are my age. Things that have always been there are no longer there anymore. And I wonder, at the end of all of this, whenever it's going to be, will things ever be the same again? I wonder, will we value people in a way we haven't valued them before? Those people that are looking after us, those people that are providing us with food and serving us, those people that collect our rubbish. I wonder if we will value them in a different way than we haven't before. I wonder whether we'll reassess the very things that we think are important. We are surrounded every day by information about death, and I wonder whether that information and the harrowing things we hear will change our attitudes towards life and towards death, and when we think about the value of life and the importance of eternity. I've heard about people in places in parts of the country who have held Easter egg hunts, and people are talking to each other who have never talked to each other before, although they've lived together for many, many years. I wonder if we'll be less selfish and more selfless. I wonder if our whole value system will change as a result of what we're going through right now. In San Francisco, things were never the same again. In early Palestine, things were never the same again. And I wonder if in Great Britain and the world, things will never be the same again. Paul says this in one of his letters. He says this, it's a translation I came across recently. It says this: it's in Christ that we find out who we are and what we are living for. Life is built on purpose found, challenges met, opportunity seized, and the will of God accomplished. What else is there? Do you know, it's no point climbing the ladder of success only to find it's leaning on the wrong wall. All the money in the world won't keep you safe and warm in the winter of your experience. And I think it's important right now to think about things. There are earthquakes in our lives, things that shake us up. And when we are shaken, what really matters stands firm. And I just pray today that fear will turn to faith, that doubt will turn to truth, and you will discover something new out of this awful experience. Things will never be the same again. And I trust as we begin this week, looking at some of these seismic events in the Bible and in history, that we'll reevaluate what's important in life, and we'll discover that in Christ we find a purpose in life. Thank you for listening. Lord, I just pray this morning, as we begin our day, as we begin our week, that you will help us to look at what's important in life and put our trust in you. Amen. Now, before we finish this morning, I've got an announcement to make. As you know, we had an Easter competition where we had to decide how many eggs were in a jar. Well, thank you, Ridian, for organising that. And thank you for everybody for taking part. It was a great deal of fun. But we do have a winner, someone who actually got the exact number of eggs, and that exact number was 138, and the winner is Sarah James, who happens to be my daughter, who lives in Australia. Now we'll put $10 in the bank for her today, and she can go out and buy herself a splendid Easter egg. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.